Good evening, friends. Welcome to the daily answer writing practice. Let us first analyze the most important editorial of the day, and then we will try to attempt an answer on the question from the daily practice sheet. So let me just share the editorial with you. So this was today's editorial. Okay, this was today's editorial. So this editorial basically was time to turn the spotlight on malnourishment. See, we all know that budget making procedure has started. Okay, and budget is not just a financial tool. Budget is also a socio-economic tool. So what, let me just first tell you some new term. Budget is not just a financial statement. We think that budget is just a financial statement, but budget is not just a financial statement. It is a tool of economic, socio-economic progress. Socio-economic progress. Okay, it's a tool of socio-economic progress because it is through budget through which the fiscal policy of the government is decided. What is fiscal policy? The policy pertaining to revenues and expenditure, where the money which the government collects through taxes should be spent, whether it should be spent on education, whether it should be spent on health sector, is decided by budget. So this editorial basically is about why it is important to turn the spotlight on malnourishment. So the article basically gives a lot of important data which you can use whenever you attempt a question on malnourishment. So data says that according to the global hunger index, India has the highest number of children wasting. Okay, the child wasting rate of India is one of the highest in the world, which is around 17.3. Further, the article also talks about the National Family Health Survey. According to National Family Health Survey, 35% of children under the age of 5 are stunting. So two terms here you will come across: wasting data and stunting data. Stunting data and wasting data. Wasting, as per the global hunger index, India has the largest number of children wasting rate, which is around 17%. And as per the National Family Health Survey, okay, around 35% of the children are suffering from stunting. Stunting means your height and age, height to age. Okay, that the height is not commensurate to your age. That is called stunting. Further, this also talks about the UN Policy 2018 report. UN Policy 2018 report, which says that 4 out of 10 children in India do not meet their full human potential owing to child malnourishment. According to United Nations Policy Report 2018, 4 out of 10 children in India are not able to meet their full human potential. Human potential means, see, as a child, when you grow as an adult, okay, you get a lot of opportunities in life. But if you are suffering from malnourishment, you will not be able to achieve your full potential. Okay, that is what is this article talking about. And this article again goes on to say that 68% of the under 5 mortality is because of malnourishment. And we all know the basic factor which is responsible for malnourishment is food insecurity. And this article talks about what is food insecurity. The article talks about that physical, social, and economic access to food determines food security. So opposite of that is physical, economic, and social inaccessibility of food is called food insecurity. Food insecurity. So this is a key term. Whenever you get a question on food security, my friend, you can use this term: physical accessibility to food, social accessibility to food, economic accessibility to food, sufficient quantity of nutritious food is called food security. So a beautiful definition of food security, my friend, this article gives about. Then further, my friend, article that talks about the state of food security and nutrition in the world report. State of food security and nutrition in the world report. It gives another set of data. It gives another set of data of the proportion of people, not just in India, but throughout the world, who are suffering from food insecurity, who are suffering from food insecurity. So this is a very important data. Again, the article talks about. The article goes on to give lot many data which you can use for any question pertaining to either food security or pertaining to child malnourishment. Then what happens? The article now shifts its focus to budget. The article says that although the malnourishment rate in India is very high, although the hunger number of people suffering from hunger in India is very high, but on the other hand, the budget allocated to the food is being reduced. So it says that there was 27% decline in the budget which was allocated for nutrition of children and women. Last year there was a cut in the budget, 27% cut in the budget. This is a very significant cut. Specifically, what article says that 3,700 crore in the fiscal year of 2021, the allocation towards the nutrition to children and women was cut to rupees 2,700 crore in the budget 2021-2022. So there has been some budgetary cut as far as child nutrition is concerned, and the article says that if we go on cutting this budget, then obviously we will not be in a position to tackle this problem of malnourishment. We will not be in position to tackle this problem of malnourishment because without budgetary support, okay, government schemes will not be effective. See, whatever schemes you can come out, okay, you have to back those schemes with some fiscal resources. See, government is what? Government is all about finance. Government is all about money. If the government does not allocate money to any scheme, obviously this means what? That scheme government is not giving due importance, because without money nothing can work. Okay, and we need resources. Then the article goes on to talk about the impact of corona pandemic on the food insecurity. What has happened during the corona pandemic? People in the informal sector have lost their jobs, and since they have lost their job, obviously their incomes have reduced. Since their incomes have reduced, then obviously the economic access to food has reduced, and that has increased the number of people suffering from food insecurity. So this is what it is talking about. It is talking about increasing food insecurity in the country. Further, the article talks about that although the government has been coming out with schemes like Poshan, okay, but the focus of these schemes are very targeted. And in this pandemic, okay, the hunger has grown to those sections of society which was not suffering before from hunger, which is basically the BPL level only. Now the hunger is now touching even sections which are above BPL level. That is what the article is talking about. So the article argues that we should not leave these people behind who are not on the list of government schemes, okay, because most of the government schemes are targeted schemes. Okay, so that is what this article talks about, that the government should allocate sufficient fiscal resources for the hunger and for fighting malnourishment. Without sufficient resources, all these schemes will be ineffective. So now let us see the question which I have framed on the topic, and let us try to write a model answer. Let us try to write a model answer in front of you. With this knowledge, I'll be writing a model answer to the question which I have framed on the article, on this article. So I have framed a question in the today's DPS. Let me just read the question. Let me just read the question for you. The question goes like this: child malnourishment is one of the most pressing health issue currently in India. So child malnourishment is one of the most pressing issue in India. Examine the causes and critically assess government's effort to tackle the problem. Government's effort to tackle the problem. So this is the question. I hope the question is clear to each and everyone seeing this live session. So let me now try to attempt this question. Let me now try to attempt this question in front of you, and let us see how can we write a model answer to this question. Okay, so in the introduction, what we can write? In the introduction, we can start with some recent facts. We can start with either the global hunger index, as the article has talked about a lot of data. So we can start with the global hunger index, that as per the global hunger report, India has 35% of the people who are below the age of 5 are suffering from stunting. Okay, stunting is one of the parameters of, or one of the effects of basically malnourishment. Okay, so you can start with some data. You can start with some global hunger index, or you can start with some other data. Okay, the stunting data or the wasting data, that India has one of the largest child wasting rate in the entire world, which clearly indicates that malnourishment is a very big problem in India. Malnourishment is a very big problem in India. You can start with some data. You can start with some data. Either it is global hunger index, or you can start with a National Family Health Survey data. Both the editorial has given both these data. You can start with the context, because context is very important, my friend. Without context, your answer will lack that sufficient punch which is required in your answers, so that you get very high marks, my friend. So you start with this data. Then what you can do, you can give a subheading. You can give a heading: causes of malnourishment. Causes of malnourishment. Here I'll show you something, my friend, that the manner how you can write. See, many a times, my friend, you must have heard from the toppers that draw flow diagrams. Draw diagrams in your answer. So how to draw diagrams? Many of times aspirants are confused how to draw diagrams. So what we can do here, sir, we can do here one diagram. Causes of malnourishment. We can divide causes of malnourishment into two factors, two types of factors. Okay, first we will write food related factor. Food related factor. And here we will write non-food factor. Non-food factor. Just you see how beautiful it is going to look, how your answer is going to look very beautiful, very immaculate, and you see the examiner will be forced to award you marks. If you write like this, examiner will be forced to award you marks. You see how food related factors. So here what you can talk about, you can talk about what is food security. The article itself talks about the physical access, the social access, and the economic access. Economic access, we all know poverty, that India still is suffering from poverty. Around 25% of the population still is poor, and therefore they do not have the sufficient income to purchase food, and thus they suffer from food insecurity. There are some social barriers also to accessibility of food. Scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, women, sometimes they suffer some barriers towards access of food. Further, there are some physical barriers also, particularly in the tribal regions. Many a times tribal people have some physical barrier to food access also. So you talk about food related factors, my friend, and then let us now discuss the non-food related factors. Non-food related factors. So non-food related factors can be divided into various categories, my friend. Okay, first category will be what? Socio factors, social factors, social factors. In social factors, what you will hide? Gender discrimination. Gender. I'll just take another page for you. Okay, non-food factors. Non-food factors, my friend. Non-food factors. So in non-food factors, my friend, what I have written first, I have written social factors. Social factors. Social factors. What I have written? Gender discrimination. Gender discrimination. Here I would like to make a very interesting point. See, in India, we have seen that, or we have observed that women are discriminated, girl children are discriminated. So what happens? There is an intergenerational transfer of malnourishment. What is very interesting point I would like to make here. And I will just show you what do I mean by this intergenerational transfer of malnourishment. Just let me take a white sheet and I will explain you what is the meaning of this. See what happens. Suppose a girl child is born. A girl child is born. What happens is that she is discriminated. She is discriminated and she is not given sufficient food. So she suffers from malnutrition. She suffers from malnutrition. Further, what happens when she grows into adult? She is married early. So there is a child marriage. There is a child marriage phenomena which is prevalent in India. Okay. And because she is married out early and she gives birth early, and that time she herself is suffering from malnourishment, what happens? Low child birth, low child weight, birth weight. Okay. So at the weight. Okay. So at the time of birth, the child weight is very low. And that is the main reason why this child, again, when the child grows, the child suffers from malnourishment. Okay. Because at the birth only, the child was having very low weight. And this is called intergenerational transfer of malnourishment. From one generation, malnourishment has transferred to the other generation. Social factors. Okay. Next, you see here non-food factors. We were discussing non-food factor. Let us come back to non-food factors. Non-food factors, we have discussed social factors. In social factors, we have taken what? Social discrimination against women. Okay, gender discrimination, we can write here gender discrimination. We can write here. In that, I have told you intergenerational transfer of malnourishment. Very good, significant point, and this will really enhance your answer. Second is what? Second is sanitation. Sanitation is the missing link of malnourishment in India. You know this, that many a times, although we have sufficient amount of food, but because of lack of sanitation, okay, that food is not properly absorbed by the body. And we all know the levels of sanitation in India, particularly in the rural India, it is still not great. Okay, although we have schemes like Swachh Bharat Mission, but still sanitation has a lot of scope for improvement in India. Second point is sanitation. Third point, my friend, is clean drinking water. Clean drinking water is still not available to most of the Indians, okay, particularly in the rural India. And that is why the government of India has come out with Jal Jeevan Mission. Jal Jeevan Mission. Now the government effort is now giving water to each and every household. Jal Jeevan Mission. That is why government of India said clean drinking water. See, without water, whatever food you take is of no use, because you will suffer from very waterborne diseases, and the food what you will be taking intake, it will not be absorbed by the body. So clean drinking water is another problem, sir. Next, if you see, although we have a lot of schemes, we have ICDS, we have now Poshan Abhiyan, we have midday meal, but what is the level of governance? Malgovernance of schemes. Malgovernance of schemes. You see, I have visited many Anganwadis. I have visited. Okay, so the level, the quality of Anganwadis are not very great in India. Okay, there is a lot of scope of improvement. Okay, and the services, although on paper it looks very good, but on the ground the reality is not very good. Okay, so there is a lot of scope for improvement there. but there is also corruption. There is also corruption in the midday meal and in the ICDS, all this. So this malgovernance is also a big problem. Although PDS, we all know that kind of leakages. The government data itself says that the leakages in the PDS system was very high. That is why we are linking it to the Aadhaar. That is the reason why the government wants to link it to the Aadhaar, so that it is leakage proof. It is leakage proof. So you can talk about the PDS corruption. You can talk about PDS leakages. You can talk about ICDS ineffectiveness. You can talk about the midday meal scheme. All these things, although they look good on paper, but they are not on the ground. They don't work very great. Okay. And last but not the least are what the cultural factors, the breastfeeding practices also needs a lot of improvement. Okay, a lot of lack of awareness is there still in the rural India, in the tribal community, about the breastfeeding things. So there also a government of India has come out with some initiative. Okay, so these non-food factors, causes. Till now we have just discussed causes, sir. I hope if you like this discussion, please hit a like button, please hit a subscribe button, please share to your friends. If you like this discussion, please share to your friend, please please hit a like button. Okay, let us now go to the second part of the answer. Second part is what? Critically assess. You can write here, assessment of government of India's effort to tackle malnourishment. Okay, please. Okay, let us see. So first is what you can talk that. First, you can talk about what is the steps taken by the government. You can talk about ICDS. You can talk about midday meal. And what was the problem that time? The problem was lack of convergence. Okay, so that is why now we have come out Poshan. We have to come out with Poshan Abhiyan. Poshan Abhiyan basically is tackling for convergence of these schemes. Convergence of this is very important. Then you can talk about the PDS. And here you can talk about why this has not been effective. You can talk about the various kinds of leakages which is there in the PDS system. The targeting problem also you can talk about. The targeting problem, because we have to assess. So we have to write both positive and we write negative also. Like in PDS, it is one of the largest food program in the world. But at the same time, there are some drawbacks. There are some loopholes. We have to talk about that, my friend. Next, we can talk about that public involvement is not there. Community involvement, public involvement or community involvement, still we have not been able to involve community in this fight against malnourishment. Although government has been using this word of community involvement, but when you go to the villages, when you go to the Anganwadi centers, we do not see much community involvement. Still, people do not know exactly what are their rights, and they are not been able to successfully involve the communities. Once you involve community inside, you see some of the states where they have been successfully involving the community, then the kind of effectiveness of these schemes are very high. Okay, so community involvement is not very high. Next, you can talk about the budgetary allocation. Okay, government might have good schemes, government might have great intentions. Okay, but these intentions can only be reflected on the ground if it is supported by money. Supported by money, I mean supported by the budgetary allocation, my friend. Without budgetary allocation, these are just promises. Okay, and this article has talked about those budgetary promises only, or budgetary allocation only, that these promises must be backed up by budgetary allocation. If you just promise that we will basically eliminate malnourishment, but you are cutting down the budget, then you're basically whatever you're saying and whatever you're doing is not matching. So government, the budgetary allocation is also a problem. Okay, and then center state coordination. See, federalism in India is a big challenge. Okay, and many a times federalism leads to a lot of problems in basically implementation of various schemes. And last but not the least, the role of the local government, because in the end all these schemes will be basically implemented at the level of panchayats, at the level of gram sabha. So at that level of village, we need local government, we need effectiveness of local government. So effectiveness of local government is very big issue. at present. So till we empower these local bodies, we will not be able to have a very high quality implementation of schemes at the ground level. And this does not apply just to this malnourishment schemes. This applies for any government scheme. Okay. And with this, you can then conclude. You can then conclude that you can link this answer. You can conclude the answer after that. You can conclude it, my friends. You can conclude that fighting malnourishment, okay, is very important for India. Okay, very important for India. Why? Basically to capitalize on demographic dividend and to achieve sustainable development. So you can basically link to demographic dividend and you can link to sustainable development. I hope that this conclusion will do. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope that these live sessions on answer writing are helping you, and if it is helping you, please, I will only get to know this is helping you or not by your comments which you write down on the below the video and with your likes. So please like the video, please share with your friends, and let's meet tomorrow exactly at 10 p.m. with another editorial, with another question. And my basic mission is to empower each and every aspirant in the country so that there is no fear of answer writing. I want to take away this fear of answer writing. That is why I am doing this answer writing in front of you live. In front of you live, I am writing this answer every day because I want to take the fear out of. Once I know if I'm successful in taking the fear out of you about answer writing, you will write better answers than what I am writing. I know this because you are studying harder, you are studying day in and day out, but sometimes that fear is holding you back, and it is my duty, it is incumbent upon me to take away that fear through these live sessions. So please get involved in these live sessions, and in next 100 days I promise you will become a pro